On the 87th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about the MLB Spring Training starting back up and some new rules that have followed with that. Victor Wembanyama is out for the season. We're going to be ranking the top 5 most shocking sports retirements and ending it off with some Hall of Fame, yay or nay. Make sure you use code HatTrick Sports. We're checking out at w.gg for 10% off your order. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Now, let's start off with the Yankees' new policy. The New York Yankees facial hair and grooming policy officially amended on Friday. I wasn't really expecting this to come. Again, I think about the facial hair policy that the Yankees had for, maybe once every other week. I just don't really bat an eye at it. I just don't see facial hair when people wear Yankees jerseys, if that makes sense. So that was officially uplifted. The statement announcing this decision, the Yankees owner, Steinbrenner, said that the organization will allow well-groomed beards. So I just don't think they want shaggy beards like Charlie Blackmon. I don't think they want any of that. One thing that I am a little bit curious about, and I haven't really heard anything on, is about the hair. Does the hair still need to be a certain length, or how does that work? And I'm just kind of curious about what their thoughts on that are. Again, I haven't heard anything, so I'm assuming the hair policy is still the same. But he said, Steinbrenner said that he kind of uplifted this rule because he was afraid that, hey, if they need to sign somebody with a lot of facial hair, that this could potentially prevent them from signing with them. Judge later said that guy does not belong in our organization. But hey, if you have somebody like Shohei Ohtani who's between the Dodgers and the Yankees, and let's say Shohei Ohtani was still the talent that he is now, but a whole bunch of facial hair, and he really likes the Yankees, but they have that facial hair policy, he's like, well, I like the Dodgers a lot, not as much as the Yankees, but if they'll let me keep my facial hair. So I kind of get it from that perspective, and the other perspective is his dad kind of made this policy, and the Yankees have always been a very formal, upper class kind of team, pinkies out kind of team, unlike some other teams. So I think it's just a turning point. He argued that you have politicians, you have guys that are higher up that have facial hair. They should be able to have the players should be able to have facial hair. So I don't think it's as serious as people are putting it, but I don't mind it. I don't mind the idea. I really don't care either way. I'm not a Yankees fan. Yankees fans aren't really happy about it. They're saying it's part of the team, but it shouldn't affect the playing. If you're a Yankees fan, you should really only care about winning the World Series. And if you're more worried about facial hair than winning the World Series, then you're a typical Yankee fan. Let's be honest. So players' reactions. He said that he talked one-on-one with players, current and former players, and he got mixed feelings on it, but ultimately came to decide that, hey, we should allow guys to have facial hair. The rule's been in place for over 50 years, so it is kind of a big change in the organization. But again, like I've been saying, I don't think it's that serious. I mean, let the guys have facial hair. Don't let the guys have facial hair. Whatever. I don't think that a lot of guys will grow facial hair, especially guys that have been with the team for a year or two. You don't want to be that first guy. You don't want to be that first guy that's hey, I'm the first guy to have facial hair. That's kind of I don't want to say disrespectful, but it's kind of disrespectful. So I don't really know. I feel there won't be a lot of guys doing facial hair, and just as kind of respect for the rule and former owner and stuff like that. But the game goes on. The game goes on. Can't do much about it. More interesting thing in baseball, the ABS strike system. So now in the MLB, they are, let me move to this tab. I don't really have one on there, do I? Nah, I don't. So basically, the MLB has been, in the minor leagues, has been using the automated strike zone since 2021, but this year is the first year that MLB players are actually kind of using it, and they are starting it out in spring training, and so far, I like it. So basically what happens is The first thing I was worried about is the dimensions. Is it going to be the same dimensions for every single guy, same strike zone for every single guy? Like Aaron Judge and Jose Altuve have very different strike zones, so is it going to be the same one? It's going to adjust. So I did find that the strike zone width for everybody is going to be 17 inches. The plate, it's the plate. And then the top and bottom, it's going to be 53.5% of the height to 27% of the height of the player. So it is going to be adjustable per player. And then the strike zone depth is going to be right down the plate. It's going to be a 3D model, I believe. Or no. It's going to be halfway through the plate. So the plate is 17 inches tall. Yeah, the plate is 17 inches long. 8.5 inches in, so in the middle of the plate where that triangle kind of cuts off and turns into a rectangle, that is where the strike zone depth will be, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of a confusing graphic here. I'll pop it up. But yeah, I like that it's adjustable, and I honestly like it. So each team gets 2 challenges per play. The batter, the pitcher, or the catcher can challenge an umpire's call. And a challenge must be made immediately after the umpire's call without assistance from the dugout or other players. I think that is that's going to be a very, very... Like, the catcher can't look over at the manager. The manager sees it on the screen. It's like, bro, that was so outside. But the catcher's like, I don't know. Should I call it? It's one of the 2 challenges. I don't want to be that guy that ruins the challenge for us. So I like that rule. You can't use any outside assistance. You have to be from pitcher to catcher or the batter. You got to be one of those 3 guys. And again, I don't know. Successful challenges are retained, obviously. If there's a bad call, you don't just lose it. So that's pretty obvious. There are a lot of... So I'm looking at the comments from this post that MLB posted. He said, somebody said, great, now games will take twice as long, which is true. The MLB the last few years have been trying to cut down on time, making the game instead of 4 hours, 2.5 hours, by doing all the 3 big rule changes that they did last year with the shift, with the bigger bases, the pitch clock, all this other stuff. And then now they're doing this. It takes a few seconds for them to get the read from ABS and it being relayed down to the ump, to the signs, to announcing the call. It takes some time, so I kind of get where that guy's coming from. And another guy said, I've seen it live at AAA games, and I think it's brilliant. 2 challenges per game is very reasonable, in my opinion. And I agree with him. You can't have 10 challenges, or else the game's going to take forever. But I like 2 challenges. And, yeah, once you lose those 2, then we're getting back to regular baseball. You can't complain. That's what we did last year. And then another comment said, what's the use of a good catcher then? Yeah, framework is out the window. You can't frame a ball. Now, what people argue then is like, wait 1 second. They only get 2 challenges, so you can use a good catcher, so then the batter won't, like, there's all this stuff. Like, if an ump has a hard call, if he has good framework, a good catcher's still in place, and it's still in place. But yeah, the big thing is that it's going to take some time. I don't think that it's going to be implemented into this season's, I read something from Ken Rosenthal. I don't think that it's going to take place this season, in the regular season, next season maybe, but there's going to be a time in the next 5 or 10 years where it's basically all like, there's no balls or strikes call to argue. It's going to be all ABS. The umpire's going to hear a beep in his ear, and if he hears a beep, it's going to be a strike, and if he doesn't, it's going to be a ball. That's just how it's going to be. The umpire's still going to be there for judgmental calls and stuff like that. But you know what? I'm kind of here for it. I don't. In soccer, there's extra time. In hockey and basketball, there's fouls. In NFL, there's ball placement. There's always something. And if we can make the sport just even as possible, where there's no arguing, there's no like, oh, the ump screwed us over, there's no that, then fine. That the losers have less of an excuse. And I like that. I hate how losers have excuses. And this kind of helps with that. And in the Cactus League, at least, in Florida, so spring training is basically, it's either in Florida or Arizona. That's where all the teams are located. In Florida, every single stadium, spring training stadium has it except for the Astros and Nationals in West Palm. And then in Arizona, in the Cactus League, I believe that it's every stadium that shares a field. So like the Dodgers and White Sox share a field in Arizona and Camelback and their little complex over there. So they have the ABS system. But as a team that doesn't, that has its own spring training facility, they don't have the ABS system set up there. So again, it's all just whatever. It's the whole. I don't really know how to explain it. It's good for the sport. It's good that they're testing it out in spring training. It's good in that. One thing I wasn't really going to talk about on this podcast, but I was just thinking about it. Do you think that the worst MLB team, the White Sox last year, could be the best AAA team? And I was talking to some guys about it, and I had some mixed. There were some mixed things about it. Yeah, the AAA is as close as you can get. Okay, wait 1 second. Let me preface this by saying that AAA, it can't be guys come back from injury. It can't be guys like that. Just a AAA, a normal AAA team without guys coming back from pitching assignments versus the worst MLB team. Do you think that AAA team could beat that MLB team? And a lot of people said no. A lot of people said that the White Sox could beat the best AAA team. I personally think that the AAA is the closest thing to the MLB as you can possibly get, and the best one of that could beat the White Sox. The White Sox, absolutely horrible. I mean, horrible. But, I mean, there are reasons why these guys in AAA aren't going to the big leagues. But then for some teams, the reason why they're not going to the big leagues is because the big leagues, they already have the best players out there. So it's a big thing. Like, I think that you kind of do like regulation kind of thing with it. Obviously, that would never work. But the White Sox, hey, you want to be regulated back into minor leagues and bring up this Dodgers AAA, Oklahoma City Dodgers AAA team. Again, that'll never work. But I want to see them play a game against each other. But then you'll have the thing like the White Sox aren't going to try as hard. The AAA team's going to win every single time because the White Sox don't want to get injured. You could do it in the All-Star break. You could do it before the season starts. It doesn't matter. The White Sox aren't going to try in that unless there's something on the line. It's just a little idea that I had. I don't think it'll ever go through. But MLB, hear me out. Let's talk about, let me move. Here we go. Let's talk about some MLB veterans who switched teams this offseason. You're going to see guys in New Jersey. So you have Juan Soto. He's been with the Yankees for a couple years. Nope, now he's going to the other side of New York to the Mets. We saw him for the first time yesterday. At the time of this recording, it was yesterday. I saw him for the first time in the Mets uniform. Crazy to see. He looks excited. Again, he's getting paid all that money. It's all pretty much guaranteed. Like, is he going to try as hard? I don't know. I think he just really cares about money. You have Justin Verlander. He's been for the Astros with some time now. He has moved over to the NL West and is now with the Giants. I saw him in a jersey. Again, he's played for a whole bunch of teams in his career. He's just an immaculate grid kind of guy. You have Max Scherzer, another guy who's been with a whole bunch of teams. He was with the Rangers, and now he was headed to Toronto with the Blue Jays. He's got to be up there. He's got to be 40-plus years old. When did Max Scherzer make his MLB debut? He made his debut in 2008. Holy cow. April 29th, 2008 is when he made his debut. Still going strong at it, playing for the Blue Jays now. You have Cody Bellinger. He played with the Cubs, and now he is headed to the NYC. He's headed to the Yankees. I think he adds some stuff to the Yankees. Just again, we've got to see it for a while. It's not shocking news anymore, and I think he kind of looks good in the Yankees jersey. Aroldis Chapman, again, he's played for 29 of the 30 MLB teams, headed to the Red Sox. How are Yankees fans feeling about this? Because he was obviously so dominant with the Yankees, so good with the Yankees, and now he's with the Red Sox. What do Red Sox fans think about him? You can't just be like, hey, welcome to the team. We love you already. Like, I just don't know how Red Sox fans feel about this. You have Blake Snell. He was with the Giants. He was with the Rays for the majority of his career. Then got passed around. So it was eventually with the Giants. And then now with the Dodgers, he's going to be He's going to be one of their 5 aces. He's going to be one of the Dodgers' 5 aces, let's be honest. Excited to see what he does as a Dodgers fan, and glad he's out of the NL West. Just glad he's out of the NL West. Or he's still in he's out of our competitors. He's been with the Padres and Giants. I'm just glad he's with us. Alex Bregman, he's played for the Astros forever. He is also headed to Boston. The Boston's going to be good. Boston is going to be good, especially if they pick up Vladdy next season. Boston is going to try to make a run for the Yankees. The NL East is going to be an incredibly, incredibly hard division to be in the next few years. Max Fried is not fried. Max Fried going from the Braves to the Yankees. One of the pickups that the Yankees picked up after not re-signing Juan Soto. He's going to do good. I think he's going to do good in the Yankees. Yankees-Mets, Yankees-Dodgers World Series. What is it going to be? It's going to be one of those 2 matchups, I think. Only time will tell. Paul Goldschmidt coming from the Cardinals down to the Yankees. Like I said, he's just one of those players that got signed by the Yankees in the offseason after they didn't re-sign Juan Soto. Kyle Tucker moved from the Astros, just another guy the Astros lost, and headed to the Cubs. The Cubs picked up a few guys this postseason too. And those are just some MLB veterans that switched teams over the offseason. It's going to be cool to see. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper, right on the forearm, got a Philly Fanatic tattoo. His contract, I'm going to go over his contract details. Bryce Harper, he signed a 13-year, $330 million contract in 2019. He's with the Phillies until 2031. I think he'll win a World Series. I think that he'll win a World Series with the Phillies in the next, 6 seasons or so. Holy cow, 2031 is 6 seasons away. But yeah, he has no trade clause, so he doesn't have to worry about being traded. He's getting paid a whole bunch of money. This year, it looks like he is going to get paid $27 million. Again, if he signed a few years later, he could have got more money, but whatever. Nobody's going to complain about $20 million. But yeah, Fanatic's tattoo right on the forearm. And I have a feeling that if they want to trade him or he wants to get traded, that's not going to happen. I think he likes it there in Philly. So yeah, remember when he was with the Nationals? Holy cow, that was a long time ago. Long time ago. Yeah. Just some contract details by him. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays did not come up with an agreement last week. So after this season, he officially becomes a free agent. There are some front runners, early front runners. Number 1, Boston Red Sox. I think that the Red Sox have the highest chance of picking up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Again, they're trying to fight for that East. They have the Blue Jays, who aren't ever really that good. They're always just average. The Rays, they're playing in an outdoor stadium in Florida. They're going to get rained on every other day. Then you have the Orioles, who just can't win a playoff game. And then you have the Yankees, who are their big competitor. And then you have the Red Sox. And they're going to try to pick Vladdy up. And I think that's where he's going to go. Some other teams that he could go to, in my opinion, he could get picked up by the Mets. Hey, Alonso. I don't know what's going to happen there. Cohen, Steve Cohen is not afraid to pick up guys for money that cost a lot. Vladdy could also go to the Yankees again. The Yankees just keep picking up guys. They didn't re-sign Soto. They're taking it as an opportunity. They're taking advantage of it. Or the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays could re-sign him. I just don't think it'll happen. If they're saying that they're not even close to an agreement, I mean, what's going to happen when these other guys are bidding for him? It's just going to keep going up. So there's some MLB news for you guys right there. Let's move on to a different segment. All right. Top 5 most shocking sports retirements. All right, at number 5, you have Calvin Jones. He retired in 2016. He was just 30 years old. He was a Lions wide receiver. He was still in his prime. Let's be honest. He was still in his prime, and he retired. He just had like that 1,000+ rushing yard season, or maybe no, 1,000-yard season, and he had been one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL at the time before he retired. He said that he retired because of like injuries, and he was just kind of frustrated with the Lions organization. But man, retiring when you're in your prime is wild. But again, you make your money. It's a job for them. You make your money, then you retire. Whatever. You can't blame them. Number 4, I remember vividly. Andrew Luck. It was about 2 weeks before the regular season, and Andrew Luck, 29 years old, supposed to be the face of the Colts franchises. Again, 2 weeks before the NFL season starts, he announced his retirement. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Like I said, face of the franchise. He was supposed to be the face of the franchise. He was supposed to still be with them right now. He was very injury prone. He had a lot of injuries. He said he didn't really like rehab, and that was one of the main reasons why he stepped away from the game of football. It brought Colts fans to have a different word that rhymes with luck on the back of their jerseys next season. It's just, hey, if you're going to retire, I respect that. You do your job. You did it 2 weeks before the regular season. You're supposed to be the face of the franchise, and you retired 2 weeks before kickoff of the season. Make it a few months beforehand. Let everybody know. Colts fans were booing him for months. I feel like months. I mean, Colts fans still hate him for it. It's just not classy. Again, retire if you want. Just don't do it 2 weeks before the regular season. At number 3, Michael Jordan. He took that time off. His dad got murdered or something, I want to say. He won 3 NBA titles. And then he just walked away from the game of baseball. His dad, I'm pretty sure his dad got murdered, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm sure that kind of influenced his decision because it was right after that. He tried to go into baseball. He played for the White Sox in the minor leagues. Try something new. He's an athlete. He tried something new. It didn't really work out for him. And he returned to the NBA to win three more championships. So, he ended up coming back, and he's still the greatest basketball player of all time. It just shocked everybody. Hey, yeah, his dad died. But coming off, he was in his prime, greatest basketball player of all time. Shocked everybody. At number 2, you have Barry Sanders, one of the greatest running backs of all time. Some may say the greatest running back of all time. He retired only at 31 years old. He was only 1,400 yards or something away from the rushing yard record, the all-time rushing yard record. He said that he was just frustrated that the Lions weren't successful. He wants to win. He's an athlete. He's a competitor, and he just couldn't win with the Lions. And he said that was one of the biggest reasons why he stepped away from the sport. And one of the greatest running backs of all time. And then the number 1 most shocking sports retirements of all time, Jim Brown, 1966. At just 30 years old, he retired while in his prime. A few seasons before, he won MVP. At the time, he was NFL's all-time leading rusher. Yeah, and he won MVP in 1965. Shocked the sports world by choosing to pursue an acting career, walking away from this football entirely. A lot of people are saying that he could have broken a whole bunch of records if he stayed in the game, but we'll never know. We'll never know. Oh, wait, hold up. How did he die? Yeah, Calvin Johnson death. Did he? Wait, no. Yeah, he died recently. He died in 2023. Exoneration. Yeah, it was a whole. I remember it was something crazy. I forget how he died. It was something crazy like that. But yeah, those are your top 5 most shocking sports retirements. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Four Nations Faceoff. We witnessed one of the greatest hockey tournaments of all time last week, and the finals was crazy. So first of all, the first few games, the USA and Canada beefed at it. 3 fights, 9 minutes, boom, 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 or 9 seconds. 3 fights in 9 seconds, boom, boom, boom. To Chuck and all those guys are to blame. Again, the rivals in the NHL, the rivals in countries. What do you expect from them? But they faced off again in the finals, in the Four Nations Face-Off finals, and it was wild. Canada went up first, then the U.S. struck back, went back and forth. It ended up going into overtime, 3v3. Connor McDavid, probably the greatest hockey player in the world right now, scores with 8 minutes or something left to go in overtime, and Canada ended up winning the Four Nations Faceoff. Broke so many records, though. So many viewership records. A quarter of all Canadians watched that finals game with 10.4 million viewers at its peak. This records being broken. More viewers than Game 7 of one of the Stanley Cups last few seasons. Yeah, Connor McDavid is just that. He's just that guy. Sportsnet reported 10.7 million people across Canada watched Thursday night. Excluding pro and college football coverage, the Four Nations Championship game was ESPN's largest audience since the 2024 NBA Finals with the Celtics and Mavs. The 4 games of the tournament that ESPN showed drew 4.4 million viewers. Yeah. So, yeah, it was good. It was good watching some hockey. There were a lot of Americans that just don't watch hockey to begin with that watch this tournament. So, it's good to bring exposure to hockey as a sport. Yeah, let's talk about some basketball news. Victor Wembanyama out for the season. He had blood clots in his shoulder. They diagnosed it officially after the All-Star break. He came back. They were like, yep, we're going to need to give you blood thinners. You can't do any contact sports for the rest of the season. It's not supposed to be too serious. He can't win any awards, Defensive Player of the Year. He can't win any awards. He did not meet the required amount of games played. So that kind of sucks. But I'm glad that it's nothing major. He's just going to be out for the season. They're going to give him blood thinners, I think. Just wait it out. No contact sports for the rest. Hopefully, he stays active. He stays doing stuff. And next year, hopefully, he's better than he was. Again, super high potential. Brings a good player to the Spurs after the horrible season last year. Nothing too major. Nothing long-term supposed to be affected by this. And hope all is well in the Wembanyama family in France. Let's talk about some college sports news. Carson Beck, his car was stolen in Miami along with his girlfriend, who I believe plays basketball at Miami. I think it's at the same school. Their cars got stolen. So basically what I read on is these guys in masks, I believe it was 4 guys in masks, broke into the car, found a garage door opener, opened the garage, broke into the house, grabbed the keys, went into the cars, stole the cars. Arrests were made, and this is all alleged at the time. According to multiple media outlets, the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office arrested Taekwon DeAndre Anderson and charged him with burglary of an occupied dwelling while wearing a mask, grand theft, and grand theft of a vehicle. In the arrest report cited by multiple media outlets, Beck told deputies he and Cavender were asleep when the theft happened. Beck had a Mercedes and Lamborghini stolen, and Cavender had her Range Rover stolen. The report said Anderson and the 3 others arrived at the home in his rented vehicle. 2 of them jumped over a concrete fence to get to the driveway, and then that's basically what the story I just told you. They broke into the car, house, keys, that car stolen, arrested, boom, guilty as charged. Not guilty yet. Not technically guilty yet. Don't do it. It's very, very common now in the last year or so of these professional athletes, even though Carson Beck isn't technically a professional athlete. These athletes, these high-end athletes are getting robbed, burglarized, stolen, broken cars, broken houses. Bruh, guys, stop. These guys worked hard for their money. They're using it however they want to. Take the money, whatever. Just stop. Well, I don't understand the reasoning. For this. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a fan. Not a fan of these guys getting broken into. Yeah, that's just what happens. I just report on things. I don't break into anything. All right, let's move on to my favorite segment, Hall of Fame, yay or nay? All right, Hall of Fame, yay or nay? We were talking about him before. He is in the NFL Hall of Fame. Calvin Johnson, but is he in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame? So like I said, he is in the NFL Hall of Fame, but he's not in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame as of right now. He only played 135 games in his career. He played from 2007 to 2015. Pro Bowlers every season since 2010. He led the league in yards a few years, receptions a season, yards per game a couple seasons, In touchdowns in 2008, he led in yards, scrimmage yards per touchdown, rushing plus receiving yards per opportunity, minimum 6.5 touchdowns per scheduled game to qualify for the leader. He led the league in that. 1 year with 16.1 in 2012. He had three All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowls. He was in the All-2010s team. Only played for the Lions. Only played 8 seasons. But does he belong in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame? It is a... He also led the league in receiving yards and touchdowns. Let's go. I think it's actually close. It's close because you need to play more than 8 seasons. It's yay. He belongs in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame, and he deserves it. Well, I don't like how he ended his career so early, but, you know, he was at his prime. He quit at his prime. He didn't like the Lions. Can't do much about it. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching the 87th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. You can listen wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. All the visuals are on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 88.